Hello, everyone. Welcome to our info session on data analytics, big data, and predictive analytics for our spring-summer 2026 term. We're just going to give a couple of seconds for people to join in, but I just wanted to let you know that my name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I am the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. And before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. I thank the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island for their efforts to protect the land, and I deeply regret the past injustices they have endured. As Toronto Metropolitan University seeks to move forward in partnership with Indigenous peoples, I pledge to foster an environment that is more inclusive and welcoming of Indigenous peoples from all communities. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the session so as not to disturb other attendees or presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. You can submit your questions for our speakers at any time by typing them into the question box of your control panel, and we'll collect them throughout the session and address them during the Q&A portion. Now, I'd like to introduce our presenters for today, Tamer Abdo and Chenny Babalu, Assistant Program Directors of Data Science at Toronto Metropolitan University, Jason Kim, who is the Director of Data and Insights at Manulife, and Bilen Wundimu, who is an application developer at CIBC and a student of the certificate. Now, before we invite and welcome our speakers, we'd like to do a quick poll. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to do this poll. So it's a really cool tool that we're using this time. It's called Mentimeter. I'd ask everybody to pull out your browser and go to menti.com, and you can use the code that's on the screen. It's 16037756. And I'd like you all to answer our first question in this poll is, what motivated you to consider this certificate? Our options are career advancement, career change, skill building for current role, and personal interest. And we also have others. So yeah, if you could just take a couple of seconds to complete this poll, it really helps us provide some feedback to our teams and to our speakers today. So it looks like skill building for current role is leading right now, and we've also got one vote for career change and one for personal interest. And now we've got one for career advancement. So yeah, that's really good to see. We'll leave it on for just a few more seconds and then move on to the next question. We've got another poll for you. But thank you so much for participating. Okay, career change now has taken the lead. Nice to see that. All right, next question is, what is your current level of knowledge in this field? We've got three options there. One is high, well informed about the field, moderate, basic awareness, and then low, which is minimal or no prior knowledge, which is totally fine as well, because you don't need any prior knowledge for this certificate. But it's good to see we've got people here that don't have a lot of knowledge, have some knowledge, and are also well informed about the field, and people who are looking to change their career, advance in their career, build skills for their current role and also some personal interests. So we'll leave this on for just a couple of more seconds, and then we will end the poll. Thank you so much once again for joining. All right, so I'll stop sharing this poll, and it's back to you, Randall, to share the overview. So now I'd like to invite Tamer and Chenny, who are our assistant program directors of data science at TMU, to take us through a brief overview of the certificate. Welcome, guys.
Thank you, Marshall. So I will start first. Yes, I'm Jenny Babolu. And yeah, I will take you to the quick facts of the certificate first of all. So this is a fully online certificate, fully online. All the courses have video lectures, synchronous and asynchronous sessions. We have weekly live sessions, but everything fully online. So that is the first thing I want to share with you. And we have as a total 6 courses, 5 regular courses plus a capstone project course, 5 regular courses plus a project course. And you can finalize this certificate between 8 months to 1.5 years. You can extend it a little bit more if you want to, but generally speaking, in 1 year, our students are finalizing, our learners are finalizing the certificate, and minimum will be 8 months or so. And so you see the tuition fee here. So I want to mention that in this tuition fee, of course, we have a huge teaching team, your instructors who have PhDs in the field, your teaching assistants, virtual tutors. We have a very supportive teaching team, but also you will have some access to our support system from the Cheng School, but also from Toronto Metropolitan University. And at the end of this session, there is one slide at the end which Bashir provides you as benefits of learners. All the details are there. So you will be associated with the Cheng School, but also you will be associated with the big Toronto Metropolitan University, that there will be some support that is covering career supports, academic supports. So even some events that you will learn how to create your LinkedIn profile in a better way, let's say. But the next thing I want to take you to is basically who should take this program. Is this program is something really that is something that you need to proceed with. So let me say a few things about that. And this poll was, I guess, very helpful. We understand our, prospective learners as well. So this certificate does not need any prior knowledge. What we need is some interest in this field, data science, AI, data analytics, and also some curiosity, I should say. Those are the 2 things we need. No prior knowledge is needed, no statistics background, no coding background, no computer science background. So no background at all is needed. But this program is designed in a way that everything that we touch is practical. Yes, we take you to some segments of data science, statistics, computer science, but nothing is theoretical. It's all planned to have hands-on practices, and everything we touch is practical. For each and every module, for each and every content that we cover, we have labs, we have applications, we have, let's say, case studies that we work on, and everything is designed in a way that it takes you to case studies, scenarios, different roles, and we touch these kind of labs, assignments, and projects. That's why you may be someone who are interested in doing all the work in terms of data analytics, but you may also be a manager who want to ask correct questions about the data set, or to lead teams, lead data scientists or data analysts in your team, and asking the correct questions, understanding the data in a better way, and understanding the patterns in the data set, or getting some stories about the data set. It may sound practical, but also it takes you to some analysis segment as well. And this is what we are focusing on our certificate. But at the end of finalizing the certificate, by completing the certificate, what you will gain. So let me take you to that segment now. So you will be basically mastering all the techniques that is required from the beginning till the end of a data science project, because each and every project in data science is really a process. from starting with a messy data set, right? So cleaning the data set, initial analysis, exploratory data analysis, visualizations, understanding the patterns in the data set, asking the correct questions. For sure, graphs, tables, visualizations, and then interpretation of the results. Of course, we are using codes, we are using tools, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, Python, all the tools that are needed in the industry will be provided to you, and we will be teaching you how to use those tools, but also how to interpret the results. As we know, we always value analysis a lot. And as we know, humans, even if you use generative AI and AI in this new era, humans will be accountable and responsible with the results. Okay, so that's why the results that we are producing at the end of, let's say, coding will be very important, but interpretation of the results, convincing ourselves, first of all, with the results, and convincing our team, our stakeholders, technical and non-technical people, communicating with them, presenting our result, discussing the results, interpretation of the results. So all of these are very important for us, and we will learn, we will teach you, and you will learn how to understand and manage different type of data sets from. And one thing I need to mention is this certificate is not domain specific. So we take you to, in some labs, we take you to healthcare domain. In some labs, we take you to accounting or finance domain, from education to sports. So we will be covering different type of domains, different types of data sets, and you will see that visualizations or interpretation of the results are so technical, and you will be able to do that in a practical way. And one last thing I want to take you to is our delivery mode, and then I will pass it to my colleague Tamer. So in terms of the delivery mode methods that we have in the certificate, this certificate is fully online. But of course, we want to have some course components to have a good communication relation with our students, and also to support them in various ways, because we believe that our learners have diverse backgrounds and diverse learning needs as well. So what do I mean by that? So we have some asynchronous sessions, which means that we have different modules. For each week, we have a specific module for each and every course, and it has pre-recorded video lectures. And these are professional video lectures where professors and subject matter experts create those video lectures who have already PhDs in the field, who have research papers in the field, in the data science field, and those are pre-recorded video lectures. We also have discussion forums where students can ask their questions. There is an environment that it is supported by teaching assistants, instructors, and virtual tutors, and we answer those questions of yours in the asynchronous session. But also we have the synchronous session. Each and every course will have an instructor, we'll have a teaching assistant, and we'll have a tutor. So during our weekly live sessions, we will be sharing the same time and space with you together virtually, and you will be able to ask your questions. We will have a discussion on the topic that we covered of that module weekly, and we will have that session together. For the synchronous session, we will also have hands-on labs. Again, each and every module will be associated with a lab segment as well. Everything that we'll touch will be practical and hands-on. That is one thing I need to mention again, hands-on, practical. Each and every section will also have a lab, and we will be using, of course, different tools in the labs, and we will conduct the lab together with the teaching assistant and the instructor. For the capstone project course, you will have a supervisor, and you will have one-on-one meetings with your supervisor. And these are all about the teaching team. This support, that the delivery of the courses, is directly related to the Cheng School and the teaching team, and each and every course will have this teaching team support. The other support I mentioned about the benefits is more about career advising or preparing your LinkedIn page, let's say, or networking events. Those are completely different. That is a different support system that we already have for all our learners. But what I here focus is on course components, and this is the delivery method. So now we will take you to the course course. And my colleague Tamer will take you to that segment. He will also mention more about the capstone project course as well. And now, Tamer, I want to pass it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. And thank you, Mashroor, for the introduction. Well, what you see on the screen here, these are the courses that we have. We have 6 courses. I like to call them 5+1 because one of them has a special nature. This is the 820. This is the capstone course where you tie all the knowledge, all the experiences that you collected so far to come up with a solution to a real world problem. So all of these courses, except the capstone, share one thing, which is the delivery methods framework. So we have, as my colleague Jenny mentioned, we have so many delivery methods. We have recordings, we have live sessions, we have TAs, we have virtual tutors, we have discussion forum. So all of these, because we believe each one of us has their own way to learn. So if you look at these 5 courses, you will see that each course has its own special nature. Starting from 110, this is where you learn how to organize your data sets, what kind of database I need to communicate with, what kind of skills I need to be equipped with in order to communicate with a structured or a rectangular, tabular data sets, semi-structured. Do I need to learn some skills? Do I need to be equipped with some skills to learn to be savvy in communicating with these databases in terms of modeling, storing, migrating, retrieving information converting from one to another. So that's for 110. So you can see here, the main focus is on database and different types. If we look at 1 to 3, this is where you apply stats and probabilities. You learn a little bit from this, a little bit from that, and how to apply that. What kind of tool I need to be using in order to deliver these kind of concepts. R, Python, well, students used to call this course the R course, but not anymore, because now we have the Python as well. All the labs are translated into Python language and R as well. If you look at 830, this is the Python course where you will be learning the data structures, the different data structures that you can use. And on top of that, how to build your own data structure. And on top of that, how to refactor your algorithm to come up with an efficient solution. If we look at 119 and 642, this is where you scale up your skills. So 119, you will learn how to frame a business problem. What kind of tools are there for big data? In terms of 642, this is where you learn some of the models. For example, what is the difference between supervised learning techniques, unsupervised, clustering, classification, how to clean these data sets, how to feature engineer, how to reduce the dimensionality of these data sets, what kind of tools I need to learn, what kind of techniques. We believe that tools are there to be used, not the way around. That's why we're not teaching tools in this course. We are heavily focusing on the techniques and the pipeline that you need to connect together. When it comes to 820, the challenge here is not in coding. If you ask me, the challenge here is not to retain any of the concepts or knowledge. The challenge here is how to piece things together, how to tie things together, which step should come before which, in which scenario I can value this data structure and not the other one. This is the challenge. This is the main challenge in 820. And that's why you have a faculty supervisor who will walk you through this to strive in this project. The role is not to impose some ideas on you. They will not tell you, okay, let's work in healthcare. Oh, I'm interested in sports analytics. Well, the idea is from yourself, and then your supervisor will make sure the process is solid. This is end-to-end data analytics project. These are some stats, and the next slide as well. You can look at these numbers on the website, on the certificate website. You can also check, you can adjust the location, you can adjust the percentile, and you can see these numbers based on the surveys collected. Okay. Yeah, next slide. Yes, these are the numbers. And also, these are some of the roles. Well, to be honest, now the market is not looking for a generic data analyst. They need someone who who are specialized in something, who knows what to do and how to do it, and able to interpret the results. I'll leave it here, pass it over to Jason. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to both Jenny and Tamer for that presentation, for taking us through the structure of the certificate and then everything else that that comes with it. Now I'm delighted to introduce Jason Kim. Jason leads the team as the Director of Data and Insights at Manulife and is also a student of the certificate. Jason, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for the intro. Not yet. I will become the Director for Data and Insights at Manulife and starting in April. But I'm currently the Senior Manager for the Business Intelligence team at CBC, which is a team of 10 people. And I'll be going on to lead roughly the same size team at Manulife, so shortly. As Mashroor mentioned, I was a previous student of the program. I've completed the program very early. I don't want to date myself, but sometime around 2018, I completed the certificate. Got my first job in data analytics as a data analyst right after I completed the program at the Globe and Mail. I did that for about a year, and then this opportunity at the CBC came up. Became a senior manager 2 years after the program, and then now, approximately 6 or 7 years after the program, I'm going up to the director level. And so I think that you can think of that as a trajectory that, at least in my experience, was fairly easy to make after completing the program. But also keep in mind, I have some previous experience. I had been working for about 4 or 5 years before making the jump to data analytics. And so I saw in the poll that I think career change was the biggest reason for why people are interested in the program. And so, yeah, I pretty much was like you, all those years ago, where I was previously in marketing. And if you know anything about marketing, is that pretty much uh, it's a job that's available in a lot of different organizations, but a lot of people want that job. And at the time, I needed a way to. I wasn't very successful at getting jobs here, marketing jobs here in Toronto after I moved from California, and so I just thought that, well, while I'm in this transition period. I should go ahead and learn about this new thing that I'm hearing a lot about, data analytics. I had some experience with data analytics, so I wasn't I didn't do comp sci or anything like that for my undergrad, but I had self-taught some things in R and Python before doing the program, but my knowledge of data analytics was pretty limited. And it was mostly through my experience as being a marketer that I became interested in data analytics because a lot of the time I was working with conversion rates, statistics, sales stats, and stuff like that while I was in marketing. And so That's originally what sparked my interest in data analytics. Um, so I could talk about this forever, and we don't have that much time. So I'll go over some of the key things that I learned throughout my career in data, and also as my position as a hiring manager. So like I said, I have a team of 10, and I hired every single one of those people. They're a mix of data analysts, data scientists, and data engineers. And I just recently completed two hires within the last 30 days for data analyst roles. And I can tell you that, yeah, the competition is very fierce. So, um, no joke, both positions had more than 600 applications, which is the largest I've seen in my entire time of being a hiring manager. And um, I think one of the things that you should do while taking this program is try to look for ways to differentiate yourself. So the capstone that Tamara mentioned is a really great way to do that. So um, the capstone is the project that happens at the end of the program, and you get to decide what to focus on, right? And you can consult your faculty advisor, but it's primarily you that's driving, right? And so in my case, I decided to do something in transportation analytics, basically predicting um, how lethal certain intersections are in the city of Toronto. And eventually, what I did was uh, I cold called the director of transportation at the city. Her name was Barbara Gray at the time. I just emailed her and I told her we had created this prediction system to reduce fatal accidents at intersections. Would you be interested in seeing what this is about? And I'm perfectly happy to share whatever I learned, right, with your team. And yeah, they decided to hear me out. I got I don't know, an hour time slot with this director at City Hall. And at this point, I wasn't really working, like I wasn't being paid to work in data analytics, but I parlayed that into a career in data analytics, right? Nobody needs to know you weren't paid for that. You're just an expert consultant, right? And so that's how I got my start. Um, for those of you that are already working, though, I think you have a pretty good head start, right? Because the skills that you learn in this course, you'll likely be able to apply them into your work. And although, you might not be currently doing data work, but you could use your work as a way to network with data professionals at your organization. So very likely you're going to have another business intelligence, data analytics, or data engineering team at any medium or large size company. And so use your work connections to learn about their jobs and show them that you're interested in this type of work. And generally, data people, they'll, do their best to uh, satisfy your curiosity and try to help you out, right? And so um, I think that could be a great way to make a career transition without completely like starting over from the bottom as I did. Um, so yeah, use the capstone strategically. Probably you should pick it so that it's targeting a specific industry that you want to work in, and adjust it for like a real business problem that you can use data analytics or data machine learning to help solve. The last sort of tip I have is I mentioned, 600 plus applications for two data and analyst roles. And then in my case, you heard that I recently got a job as a director that I'll start in about 20 days. And I asked them like how many people applied for this director level role. And they said I think over 300 people. Uh, there are probably not 300 people that could do this job in the city, right? At the director level. But that just goes to show how competitive things are, right? And so, uh, yeah, you have to differentiate yourself as much as you can. And so, what did I do? Um, well, I used Inside Track. So there was a person that I knew that worked at Manulife that I was good friends with, but they left the CBC a few years ago, and I just reconnected with them on LinkedIn and asked, there's this position that I think I'm a good fit for. Can you refer me to the role so that my resume, floats to the top of the pile? And sure enough, that got me the interview. Even though they had over 300 applications and several referrals, I don't think if I didn't get that referral from my friend, I really doubt that I would have even been looked at. Um, and that's just how it is, right? With so many resumes, it's very likely a human being will not look at your resume, and even if they do, they might spend like 10 seconds on it, right? And so, yeah, I'd say no matter where you are in your career, you need to have some kind of unfair advantage now to be able to get a job. It's different from when I first graduated from the program, where these jobs were plentiful and the competition wasn't so high. Because remember, this was like pre-pandemic. Data analytics, big data was just developing as a field, basically. Um, Many businesses, didn't really have strong BI practices or anything like that. Now everyone does. So that creates both challenges and opportunities for people in this field. And so you just have to make the extra effort to differentiate yourself with the capstone and also use a bit of initiative and also leverage your personal networks as much as you can. So, yeah, I'd say all in all, if you're looking for career change, career advancement, with no or very little prior experience in data analytics, my experience has shown over the last 8 years that it worked for me. Definitely, I also did a lot of things that I chose to do, and my own research and my own homework that it was in addition to what you learn in the certificate program. But it gave me a great foundation that I could use to learn the things that I needed to learn or um, work with data that I wanted to work with so that I can um, be successful in my career, right? So, yeah. And last, if you have any questions about the job market, interviewing, and so on, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Um, I have a lot of people that try to add me, so if you can mention that you were in the TMU webinar, that would be great. And yeah, I'm more than happy to help anyone after you complete the program. If you're looking for work and I have an opening, hit me up and we'll see what we can do. I did hire actually one, just a final thought. Um, I did hire one person from the program who was one of our more experienced analysts. And so, yeah, there's at least two people, myself and the person I hired, that directly benefited in their careers from the program. And there's definitely more than two. But you don't often get to um, see them in real life. But yeah, in my case, I've been very successful, and the person I hired is also has been really great on the team. So yeah, uh, well, that's it. Thanks a lot, everyone, and let me know. You could also write in questions into the Q&A module on Zoom, and I can answer anything there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, for that overview of your experience and your journey. And thank you for sharing all of that with us. Now, well, let's jump into our Q&A section. We'll open it up to everybody to put in any questions that you have into the Q&A box, and we'll start answering them. So first question is do instructors bring industry experience and real world case studies into the course? So yeah, Chenny, maybe you can start with that.
Yeah, I can take that. So each and every segment of each and every course are related to is related to real world problems for sure. And our teaching team, including the teaching assistants and the virtual tutor and the instructors, all of them are coming from either industry or from academia, but the ones who are coming from in academia have collaborations with the industry by, working on projects coming from the industry. And it's not only from the industry, also, for example, from healthcare domain, right? So public, private really doesn't matter. And yeah, the short answer is yes, but I wanted to give you some details. All our teaching team is coming from that perspective, and also each and every lab or assignment that we touch is taking you to a real world problem. It is a scenario-based lab design or scenario-based assignment design. You really focus on a specific domain, on a specific data set for each and every lab. We touch different domains, they touch different data sets. It's not a domain specific certificate. So we value that as well. We want our students to work on different domains for sure. Thank you, Marsha. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay, next question is, will this be a good stepping stone to become a data architect?
I can take this question. Well, we have one course dedicated for database, actually. And there you will learn, as I mentioned, different types of database, starting from modeling, moving towards migration, how to reverse engineer it, how to forward engineer a database, how to convert semi-structured to structured database, what kind of shortcomings you might face in doing that, or the way around. So yes, that can prepare you to be a data architect, if that's.
Thank you.
The name of the course is 110, CN 110 Data Organizations. And in the capstone project, the first step is to choose the database.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tamer, for that. Next question is from Luis Garcia. Thank you so much for your question. What's the first course do you recommend to take? Is there a sequence or does it not matter?
I can take that one. So if you're planning to take one course only, I would recommend the introduction course, CIND 119. The introduction course is taking you to different segments of the full certificate, CIND 119, Introduction to Data Analytics. But if you're planning to take two courses, and you can do that, if you're planning to take two courses in the first term, you can go with CIND 119 and CIND 123. 119, 123.
And also, if you plan to apply for the master's program at TMU, we have 3 prerequisite courses in the certificate. 1 to 3, this is the stats course, and 830, this is the Python course, and 110, this is the database course.
Awesome. Next question is, does the program cover emerging areas such as machine learning, predictive analytics, or data storytelling?
I can take that one. Yes, definitely. Yes, each and every course actually is taking you to some data storytelling and visualization. Machine learning is also there, especially in CMTH 642. So that is the advanced course in the certificate. It's all about machine learning. And we take you to some predictive algorithms for sure. Predictive analytics is also there, as the name suggests in the certificate. So we take you to supervised and unsupervised learning, as Tamer was mentioning in the presentation. We take you to clustering, classification, and regression algorithms, predictive analytics basically as well. And we take you to different algorithms. Visualization is for sure there. Storytelling is for sure there. And yeah, we will have segments and we will have labs for each and every segment.
Amazing. Thank you. So the next question is from Carly. Thank you for your question. I understand the course doesn't come with a co-op, but has anyone had an opportunity to get a co-op after graduating? So I know we can't really say that you can get a co-op after graduating, but maybe Jason, you can talk a little bit about your experience on what you did with the city.
Yeah, I kind of created my own co-op as I described in the capstone. Um, and if I okay, so if you were to ask me how would I approach it if I were graduating this year, how would I approach it considering that the market is the way it is, and the competition is higher than ever, right? I'd say I probably wouldn't change my strategy very much. I would still focus on a domain, like industry domain that I'm interested in, and cold call people, reach out or leverage my own network. But at the time that I finished the program, I didn't really have a strong network because I lived in California, just prior to moving back to Canada, right? So I'd say probably taking a page out of my playbook would make a lot of sense, which is you build something cool, and then you just cold email somebody, or hit them on LinkedIn and tell them that you have something interesting you want to show that you worked really hard on in the area of predictive or descriptive analytics. I think an additional tip that I think I would provide is uh, it's probably good to focus on an area that is maybe not the most you want to identify organizations that are especially hungry. So generally speaking, like the larger the organization and the more conservative the industry is, the less likely they are going to take a chance on someone that is just coming out of a program or might have no prior experience working in data analytics. And so you want to basically be strategic on the organizations you target. It might not be the company that you want to stay at long term or even in the industry that you think is that interesting. But do it for 1 year, and then your doors will start opening massively after that. For example, st early stage startups, it's very stressful working at an early stage startup, and you spend a lot of hours working. But they're going to be more tolerant of risk because there's very high turnover and they want people that can do multiple jobs at the same time, right? But if you apply like straight out of the program and you have no prior experience in finance, and you try to get to work at a big bank or something like that, just completely cold, I think it's very unlikely you are going to be interviewed at all, right? So just be very strategic about what you apply for and be open to applying for anything, and basically just tell yourself, I just need to get one job in any field. And then after that, the second job will be a lot easier to get, and the third one much easier than that one, and then so on and so forth, right? That's what I did, and that's how I climbed the ladder.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that suggestion, Jason, and your process. The next one is from Marcelo. Thank you so much for your question, Marcelo. And Tamer, maybe you can answer this. I think one of the things you mentioned was specialization is key, and that's what they're looking for right now. So Marcelo is asking, in what way do you recommend specializing? Would that be in a program like this versus specializing in a certificate for Power BI or Google Cloud specifically?
Well, to be honest, actually, in this certificate, as I mentioned, we are not teaching tools. We believe tools are there to be used. So whether it's Power BI for dashboarding or visualization or any other platform, that's fine. Eventually, you will learn the tool or how to use it. The key here is to how to apply it and in which scenario you need to have it, and how it gonna fit in your pipeline and in your project. So if you would like to learn about some tools, go ahead. There are so many tools out there, but I think the main key here is to how to um, put everything together to come up with a meaningful solution to who will be your target audience, for example, what kind of needs you will be addressing or they they need to be addressed, and what are the acceptance criteria that you need to go through. I think this can happen in, or definitely is happening in the capstone, where our students start with framing the problem first, the business problem and the impact, and then they start to provide a solution with the knowledge and with the techniques, and of course with the tools they learn across these courses.
Just to add a little bit to that is like I have never, looked at somebody's certifications or anything like that and said, "Oh, I'm going to hire that person," right? When we talk about specialization, as Tamer is saying, is I think a lot of data people completely underrate the non-technical side of things, such as communication, data storytelling, understanding the business and how it makes money, things like that. And then being able to speak clearly and persuasively is really what sets people apart during the interview stage, right? And if I were to say, like, if you're taking this program, what should you focus on? Like, if you want to be more specific like that, I'd say definitely SQL, which you're going to learn like a lot of in the program, is like the bread and butter of any kind of data job, whether you want to be an analyst, engineer, or data scientist, or even an architect. It's not a language that's going to go out of fashion anytime soon. It's been around for more than 40 years, and it's going to probably stay that way, right? And so, if there's specific technical skills that you should pick up and really try to master, I'd say it's SQL using cloud services and databases and data warehouses. And then I think more importantly than that is actually being able to show prospective employers that you're the one that can turn data into useful insights that can drive business results. The better you can do that with clear examples, the higher chance that your resume will be looked at, the higher chance you'll pass interviews and get the job.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those answers, everybody. I know we are at time and we don't have any more open questions, but I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Thank you to our speakers and thank you to all our attendees for taking the time out of your day to join our session today. It was a really good session with some really good questions and answers and great dialogue. And we hope to see you all in the upcoming course. If you're interested in the certificate, please visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca. If you have any specific questions for me, you can contact me directly at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. And all of the information we shared and a recording of the session will be sent to you via email within the next 24 to 48 hours, including a survey with the email. And on behalf of the Chang School and our presenters, thank you for joining us today. Have a great rest of the day.